Hey, chat. I've noticed that my mic is very staticky, so I have to like hold the wire so it doesn't make those little noises. So I'm sorry that annoys you. But guess what today is? It's March 24th. Guess what today is? The most important day of the year. The most important day of the year. Mcgriddle Day. And I know most of you are thinking, McDonald's Mcgriddle Day? No. Mcgriddle. Mcgriddle is me, Maddie, Mary, and Gretchen. Mcgriddle. It's my polycule. I'm in a poly relationship with them. Not really, but we are best friends, and a year ago today was the solidification of our best friendship. I've known Mary since 8th grade, and our friendship has taken twists and turns, but we are still here. And we moved to the same town at the same time and go to the same college and everything. Like, we're really here together. And I met Gretchen in November of 2023 when I started working at Urban Outfitters. She was my manager, which is funny because she's a year younger than me. But nevertheless, in October of 2024, we all first hung out together. I was starting to hang out with Gretchen way more, and she invited me to this show, and Mary was there at the same time when I was invited, and so we all went together, and that was the first time we hung out, and it was a beautiful experience. But it was an adventurous night. We were doing other things and, out and about. It wasn't until March 24th that we filmed this video called Life with Besties and spent this night together. That was so transformative and so bonding and so beautiful. At the time, in March of last year, I was kind of talking to this guy, and I was just so inspired by all the videos he posted on his YouTube account, especially one of them really resonated with me. It was called Night with Friends. I can't believe I almost forgot that. Night with Friends. Infamous video. And it's just a video, short little video of him and his friends dilly-dallying around, but there was something about it that felt very me-core. That's what Gretchen and Mary said at the time, like very me-core, very something I would do, and they're like, whoa, like I don't know, we were all very inspired by it, and so we made our own. We made our own Night with Friends, and we called it Life with Besties. And it's also kind of funny because it was him and his two friends, and then it's me and my two friends. So there's parallels there. And also the song that he used in the video was like one of Gretchen's like favorite songs ever, and it was like a little bit niche-core, and so she was just like, meant to be kind of thing. Meant to see it. And so we remade it, and we spent a night together, and we got dirty dough cookies. And we sat at my aunt's house where I lived at the time, and just in the backyard, and just talked and got to know each other. And then we went inside, and we were also drinking a little bit, the Cayman Jacks. And then we went inside, and then all of a sudden me and Gretchen like made out. But it was all like really chill and friendly. But it all really bonded us, and it was a beautiful night. It was a beautiful night. And then a year. This whole month has been, the beginning of this year, up until this March, has been nothing but retrospective, it's been a year since kind of statements and thoughts in my head. It's been a year since this. Because last year was the most eventful year of my life, for better or for worse. But this is the ultimate year of. This is the most important year of. My two loves, the loves of my life, truly the loves of my life. When I think about my mom, divorced, never been remarried, she's had a boyfriend off and on for a while since my dad, but the only consistent person in her life has ever been her best friend, who she lives not with, but low-key. She lives down the street from her, and she's always at her house, and they like kind of live together. And her best friend Vanessa has a husband, Marty, and Marty's always gone, like he's always doing work or whatever, and so it's really just my mom and Vanessa. They're really each other's soulmates, and I feel that way about Mary and Gretchen. I will probably get married one day. All of this rambling will be futile. And I'll find some dude who's amazing and great. And I know that. And we'll get married. But he will be gone. He'll be working. He'll be doing something else. And my 2 girls are coming over every day. My 2 girls are coming over every day. And they are my soulmate. And that dude I live with, he's really cool. And he could probably raise a family with me. But these 2 girls, they're my soulmates. And I think that is so beautiful that I found. And whenever we go out, every single person who meets us is like, you guys are so close. Like, what? And I appreciate that, and I love those comments, because, like, we are, truly. But I, like, look back, and I'm like, why aren't you this close with anybody? Why don't you let people in? Why don't you have someone to talk about what you got at Whataburger today with? Why have you not found that person? And I know it's, like, easier said than done to do that. Because I've had to wait my whole life up until this point to find it, until a year ago. So I get it. But I don't know. You got to be more open. I think you get older, you got to be more open. You just got to start saying things. You just got to start putting things out there and being vulnerable first, because you're never going to catch those people if you don't put yourself out there in a way too. And when you do catch those people, your life changes for the better. I have so much more confidence and love for myself and understanding for the world and relationships. It's one thing to know yourself alone, because, you know, like I've said, I've never really had a boyfriend or solid relationship in my life. It's one thing to know yourself alone your whole life, get to know yourself in that way. It's another thing to learn who you are in a relationship. And though I don't have all the romantic experience, I do have relationship experience, because these girls, they are my girlfriends. We call each other all the time. We're texting all the time, filling each other in on everything, telling each other everything. I mean, everything, every thought, every dream we have, we dissect together. And it's just such like a beautiful, beautiful thing. And when you do all of that with somebody, I mean, it does nothing but bond you. Oh my gosh. And speaking of, one of them just texted me. Anyways, we're just going to get together tonight. Mcgriddle 3 is getting together tonight, and we are going to recreate the Life with Besties video after a full year, and I'm so excited. Who's excited? Me. But yeah, enough about friendship. Although, I've been thinking, leave a comment about your opinion on this, but I feel like a lot of the episodes, I only have 3. The episodes are kind of, I try to have some sort of theme in them, but they're just kind of me rambling on. Shout out Led Zeppelin. I was wondering, though, if I should have like a video essay type format for any of my podcasts. And I feel like I'll probably dabble in that anyways if I run out of ideas or like things to ramble on about that have to do with like my life at the time and my opinions at the time. But if you wanted me to, any of you guys had any interest in me picking a specific topic and then just only talking about that for like half an hour, let me know. Or if you just like me kind of spitballing for the whole time. So yeah, but I do have random bullet point lists in my notes app of just little things that I feel like I could expand on. So my first bullet point is talking a lot about kids. Is it cringe or deeply reflective? So what I mean by that is I feel like so much of my music or writing is talking about kids, like my legacy, my future. I think when I hear other people talking about how much they want kids, I'm very turned off by who they are in a way. Because I'm like, why do you want someone why do you want a child so bad? Because usually if you're younger and you want a kid so bad, there's something going on there, you know? You don't love yourself. You need something to love you. And I don't mean to be so cynical, but I think that's really true. I think of that one Office episode where Michael is like a child, and on the TV, you know, they're watching it, and they were like, why do you want, or he was like 1,000 kids or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote. But he wants like 1,000 kids or something like that. And the dude's like, why? And Michael's like, baby Michael, he's like, because I want like a million friends or, people to love me or whatever. And I feel like it gives the same vibe. Like when I was in high school and I knew girls who really wanted kids. Not like in high school, but they wanted to be stay-at-home moms. That was their destiny, they thought. I actually was like, what the fuck? And no hate to them. I love everyone, you know that now. But I was actually like, what the fuck? You don't want a life? You don't want agency? You don't want your passions to come true? You don't want a job at all? Which is okay. Like, I feel that same way. I don't want a job at all. But, like, you don't aspire to anything but staying at home with children? And that's crazy coming from me a little bit. Or I think that is crazy in itself, but I understand it's crazy coming from me because in the way that I do talk about having kids a lot, like I do too. I really want kids, but like when I'm 30. And I already know, I can sense it. I can sense having a child will, I would say change my life. It's like, yeah, no duh. No duh, having a kid is going to change your life, but like truly, I feel it in my bones, my child will be so interesting and special. I really feel that way. I feel like I will birth the next president or something. I feel it in my bones. And so that's going to be something for the future that I have to prepare myself for. And I feel like all of this, in low-key, a way, is preparation. Maybe they didn't have it all wrong. Loke. Maybe they didn't have it all wrong. But I'm not going to be a stay-at-home mom. That's ridiculous. No hate to all the ones who are. My mom was one. My mom was one as much as she could be her whole life until my parents got divorced. And she loved it, and she loved it. She always said that she knew her destiny was to have kids. And maybe the older I get, the more I understand that actually. As I'm sitting here talking to you about how my future kid might be the president. She feels that same way. She must have. So basically, talking a lot about kids. Is it cringe or deeply reflective? Because I was surrounded by those kind of girls in high school who would talk so much about having kids, and I'm like, whoa, like, why are you coping? Like, you're coping for something so hard. And I'm like, oh, am I coping now? And so much of my music I talk about, the last song I wrote was, like, called Atom Bomb, and it was like, what would I do with all the atom bombs? Like, feeling really helpless in this world of war and everything, and presidents doing whatever the hell they want to. What would I do with all the atom bombs? But I will do what I can to wipe the blood from your hands before you even have hands. And that stems from a writing I did a while ago called Beforehands. That actually I should probably read. I'm going to read a little bit from Low Key, if I can find it. Okay, the little excerpt that I will read, this is from Beforehands. The war of choice will remain as I offer my hand indefinitely and forever to anyone I've ever loved looking to start again. This has always been my weakness. I keep a secret hope that one day you will alchemize and make sense of yourself enough to see me as the willow tree. The kids grazing my pasture will play and sing together and never think twice about cutting their finger on any of my sharper plants. There will be no reason to act so morbidly towards oneself. I will have rubbed the blood from their hands before they even have hands. And I can't lie, I think that is beautiful, and I commend myself for writing that, you know? I'm not going to shy away from being confident in my writing. But a lot of the things I write about follow that theme of people like, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, people, see me. Especially guys. I'm talking more about romantic relationships because I have beautiful relationships with friends who see me and applaud me and hype me up, and I can't even bear it sometimes. It's so sweet. I cannot even take it in. It's so sweet and genuine. But with my romantic entanglements, I'm always like, wake up, wake up, wake up. See me as the willow tree. See the future in me. But that's okay, because the kids grazing my pasture will be happy and beautiful and sweet. And they will not act morbidly towards themselves because of sadness, because I will have rubbed the blood from my own hands. and they shall not have blood on their hands either. And we will all be happy. My next bullet point, get me to New York. Pretty self-explanatory. Get me to New York. Anyone? Please. Please. I've been to New York 3 times. 3 times now. My first time ever was in January of 2024 with my friend Destiny at the time. And then that was really fun. We kind of just did whatever. Oh, she bought me a ticket to Broadway Wicked. Front row. We were in a group doing a Secret Santa. In a group doing Secret Santa, and everybody was giving each other like shoes. Destiny pulled out $500+ ticket to Wicked front row. Wow, what a beautiful gift that was, because it was. Am I a fan of Wicked? Ooh, not really. Ooh, I wish I was, and I literally saw it on Broadway front row, and I love that experience. I do not want to come off ungrateful in any way for the experience I got for free. For free. But not my favorite play. But it was amazing to watch live. I just wouldn't go to the movie theater and watch the movie or anything, or listen to the songs that often. But I did grow up on Glee. So some of the songs have a place in my heart just because of that. But the thing is, I'd rather listen to the Glee version. I don't know if that's a problematic take. But get me to New York. Bus, train, teleportation. Because I've gone 3 times now. And then the second time was for The Void's concert, a band I love, Julian Casablancas. And then also this band called Crack Cloud, who opened up for them. If any of you guys are watching this and want to get into new music, check out Crack Cloud if you're into, I would say they're punk, experimental punk. Yeah. I don't really know what. But, oh my god, I feel like every band I talk about I have physical media of. This is, if you tap into Crack Cloud and listen to this album, it's called Lost on the Red Mile, and actually not a single skip on this album, in my opinion. It's perfect. It's 10 out of 10. Zach Choi, The Man You Are, Aleem, love you. And the last time I went was with Mary and Gretchen, because the first 2 times we were both with Destiny, but after the second New York trip in October, she ghosted me forever. Don't know what that is about, but I met Mary and Gretchen, and our friendship was bound to be something more special, I think. And it is. And the trip to New York was a hot mess, pun intended, because it was 100+ degrees every single day. We walked the Brooklyn Bridge when it was 100 degrees outside. Why did we do that? Why did we put ourselves on that path, an inescapable path once you're on it? We walked over a mile or whatever it is, the Brooklyn Bridge into Brooklyn, and we went to the first park we could, and we sat down for I don't know, an hour. And I was nonverbal. I didn't eat that morning because certain things were affecting me in my brain. And I couldn't stomach to eat. But they did, and so they were a little bit more, I think, up and up. And I was not. I was nonverbal the entire time on the bench. But they were talking about Mormonism, because Gretchen is an ex-Mormon. We already felt so close. And this was in June of last year. And we already felt so close to one another. But that trip really bonded us in a way. For better or for worse. And it was just so beautiful. And every time I go to New York, because also a detail about the Voids trip, when I saw the Voids in Crack Cloud, after the show, Destiny was kind of annoying me a little bit. And she's so avoidant. Oh my god. Queen of avoidant, a little bit of attitude. Love her though. I still love her. But queen of attitude. And I was also queen of attitude and avoidancy. So hey, perfect match, And I was just kind of fed up, and I couldn't verbalize what I was feeling, and she was giving me attitude, and I was giving her attitude, and then I just started walking away, and I just started crying and crying and crying, and I was sobbing the entire time on the way to the hotel, on the subway through Brooklyn, in the middle of the night. And there's something about New York. It brings out a lot for me. But it makes every trip so memorable. Every trip I'm crying. Every trip I am feeling something and something's coming up. But there is such a beauty to that, I think. Because you need those moments where it comes up. And unluckily with her, it never fixed anything. It never made our relationship stronger. It only ever hurt it because we both didn't know how to navigate our own emotions and our own traumas. But with Mary and Gretchen, it was a beautiful, beautiful 360 for me, or 180, 360. 180 for me because not only did we all have moments on the trip where we were crying or whatever, but it made us closer, you know, it bonded us, and how beautiful is that? Anyways, New York just, I mean, do I have to explain it? It's New York, New York. I just feel like I'd really thrive there, especially because I need to read more of Just Kids by Patti Smith. I'm only a chapter in, and I've only been a chapter in for like months. But Mary, the angel Mary that she is, she was talking to me a lot about how she was very inspired by it and Patti Smith's way of life, being a struggling artist in New York, you know, actually homeless and on the streets, and how she found her way and her scene. And I can't help but kind of crave that. I can't help but kind of feel like I am meant to be free in that way, which I know is so rich coming from me, sitting in my beautiful room with my nice clothes, with my microphone and computer. And how would I do any of this if I was living on the streets of New York? And so, you know, I go back and forth, but a part of me craves that. A part of me craves having nothing, starting over, and just doing my own thing. And I feel like New York really always lets me do that. My next bullet point number 3, house shows. House shows. It's coming up on a year also since I ever went to my first house show for a band called Next to Jackie Kennedy and another band called X-Blade. Not to dox myself, but I do live in Denton, Texas, and that is one of the only music scenes really in North Texas that I know of. We have Rubber Gloves Rehearsal Studios, which is a place a lot of artists come to perform, and it's just a little venue off of a railroad, but I don't know, it attracts a lot of really wonderful, amazing artists. And I could not imagine not living here right now. Like, actually, the music scene is pumping music out all the time like crazy, and I'm friends with most of the people in it, I feel like, at this point. And it's just such an amazing creative space to be in. It wasn't until a year ago that I have discovered it, because no one ever told me about the music scene in Denton. I was not informed in that way about it before I started making friends in Denton, especially that go to UNT and stuff, the North Texas University. Because Denton is a college town, although I feel like it's the least college town I have visited. I feel like it's very integrated into the city that already exists here, which I kind of love. So many of my friends live in houses and stuff like that, which is why house shows are so amazing and popping here. And about a year ago today is my first house show. You know, this is the time of a year since, like I said, and it's been a year since my first house show experience. I went on edibles, and I would, you know, part of me wants to say rookie mistake, but no, I think it was meant to be. It was borderline greening out the entire night, but I think it was meant to be. We walk up to the house, and there's the music you can hear from outside, and it's just like there's nothing like it. It's so movie-core. And you walk in, and everybody's just standing, staring at the band playing. And we walk in, it's X-Blade, this one band playing a cover. I don't know what the song is. It's like Circles or something like that by Sunny Day Real Estate. Me and Mary looked at each other, and we were like, at the band the entire time they were playing that song. It was so good. We just felt the music in our bones. We felt it in our bones. And there is something like, whoa, there is something so amazing about the music and the atmosphere that I'd never experienced before, but like intoxicating, truly, like a drug. And then they started playing this like really weird interlude. I guess maybe it was one of their songs, I don't know. But in my high mind, I was losing my mind. It was like the violinist Luca. It's so funny. The only person I knew in that band was Charlie when I first went. And now I'm friends with every single person in that band. And it's just so funny how time unfolds and, you know, things change. But Luca was like, and the guitars were like, and the drums were like, and it was crazy. And I was like staring at the fan, and it was like going round and round, and I was like, oh my god, like, you know, borderline greening out, and then also having to deal with this. But it was like really amazing. It was really amazing. It just took over my body, you know, like I became one with the music. And I think I feel like that even sober at house shows. The music is just so, it just, if it's like really good, like just takes over your body. And the other band that played next to Jackie Kennedy, R.I.P. to that band, you know, they had their time, and for the best that they're no longer together. The main dude was really evil, but their music was good. Their music was actually very good, and I miss it a little bit, but hearing that all of their music high, whoa, because their music was good, and there were certain parts of it where, like, it was just instrumental, and, like, I could hear words, though. Because, like, I have videos on my little Kodak camera of all the, you know, songs and parts of the performance. But there were times when I was high on the edible where I was, like, hearing things that, like, were not being said during the music. But it was because I was one with the music. And I have not taken edibles and seen a house show since, and maybe my time is coming soon. But that night actually changed my life in so many ways, rejuvenated my spirit, made me so excited to be the age that I am. I think I've always felt kind of like mature or whatever. But low-key, I've always felt a little bit mature and out of place within my age group. But there's another piece of writing, another excerpt of writing that I did, and I'll try to recall from my brain. It's like, you know, hearing the sound of overdriven amps placed in corners of a cluttered room, I learn all at once to love what sits across from me. What sits across from me is art. These people I know so intimately and hang out with all the time make art that is so beautiful, and I cannot wrap my head around that. And to be in a scene like I am now is such a gift. And I have learned to love what sits across from me. And that has extended to every part of my life, and it's such a beautiful gift. My last bullet point that I have is, the bullet point says, stepmom's boarding school biggest regret of my life. My stepmom, Courtney. Shout out Courtney. Actually, I don't know, I shouldn't say her full name, sorry. But Courtney, shout out Courtney. She was offered, because before she met my dad a long time ago, she would work for the government, low-key kind of spy type shit. She would low-key be a spy, informant, gather information. She would go overseas and live in different places and gather information. I can't remember exactly what she did. I think it was like something to do with like aqueducts or something. She would gather information and send it back to the government. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about all that, whatever. But she had the opportunity. The older you get, the more you've done it, the nicer places you get to go. When she first started doing it, she was sent to places like, I think like Uzbekistan or like Russia, Honduras, places like that. But she got an offer whenever she was with my dad to go back and work for the government, to go to Switzerland. To go to Switzerland, and she was like, oh, your dad would never go for it. Like, I'm just not going to even say anything. But I'm like, what if I went to Swiss boarding school? And I'm so mad that I did not protest enough for myself in that situation. My dad is stubborn, and he likes his place where he's at, and he loves Texas and Oklahoma. And so he would never actually go for it, and she was right, but that's the biggest regret of my life, I think, is not fighting for that more. Because imagine what if I went to a Swiss boarding school? What if I had gone in high school to Swiss boarding school? How cool would I be? Biggest regret of my life, actually. But now that I've been saying biggest regret of my life, what is the biggest achievement of my life? Let me think about that. The biggest achievement of my life. I think the biggest achievement of my life is my mindset. Truly. Not to be all... It's all about your mindset, guys. No, not to be all preachy or, like a self-help kind of thing. But truly, my mindset. There was a period, I think like early high school, where I changed my mindset. I started thinking differently. Not about me. It's not about me. It's not personal. Nothing is personal. It's okay. Let people be, and nothing is personal. It's not about you. It's about whatever they're going through. And enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. And ever since I did that, I have my downfalls. I have my moments. I have my stressors and my anxieties. But I'm happy with life. I can be depressed, but I'm still happy. I know the blessing of life. In my life, especially, how blessed I am. And I will always know that. And so I will always be content in some way because I changed my mindset. And I think that is my biggest achievement at the end of the day. And also my biggest achievement, Mcgriddle. That I've done all the work in my life on myself to be able to know myself so well, therefore know these beautiful people so well, to be able to let them in, the fact that they want to come in, the fact that they want to come inside me. I'm sorry, but it was right there. The fact that they really want to get to know me is a beautiful thing. That I want to get to know them. It's all reciprocated. And her friendship has been so insanely strong for an entire year. And that is my biggest achievement. Happy Mcgriddle Day. Bye, chat.